Hey guys, my name's Matt Elliott, and I'll be teaching you today how to install the software for this course. So, sorry if I'm a little slow. I actually just got a concussion from skateboarding. This is actually not my first time making this video. I just finished a beautiful take, and then I realized I forgot to turn my microphone on, so I'll just blame that on the concussion. But now let's just jump right into it. So this video will teach you how to install Docker. And with Docker, you can basically run like a virtual machine that will have everything pre-installed that you need for this course. Now, you can install everything manually, but it will be more difficult. We give a tutorial for that as well, at least in like a document form. I'm going to try and make a video that explains that if I can though. But now, so back to Docker. And why should you use Docker? Well, that's pretty simple because when you install Docker, everything will be set up perfectly. You don't have to worry about making some tiny mistake that will make you get a 0 on the homework. And now you might ask, why don't we just make everyone install Docker? And the reason we have these other options is because not everyone can install Docker. If you're running Mac or if you're running Ubuntu, Linux in general, you can install Docker. If you're running Windows 10, you can install Docker. And if you're running like 8 and Windows 7 64-bit, you can install Docker. But Windows 732, I don't know if this will work for you. I've heard mixed things. Some people can, some people can't. Anything older than that, and you're out of luck. So let's look into what Docker actually is. You can go to the website right here, docker.com. It'll probably give you a lot more information that is more correct than what I'm about to say right now. But as far as I'm concerned, Docker is basically just a little like mini computer called like a virtual machine. And you can install these like mini computers onto your computer using Docker in like a super easy way. So how do you install this thing? Well, the nice thing about Docker is it's as easy as just installing any old application onto your computer. You know, if you can install video games, you can install this. You just go to the installation, and it says Docker for Mac. You can install that. It's the community edition of this page. Oh, and I should probably give, so it's docs.docker.com, engine installation, some words up there. And then you see Docker for Windows, Microsoft Windows 10 right here. That's the installation for Windows 10. And you might be asking like, well, what about all these other Windows? You said it worked for that too, right? Well, it does, but you're not installing technically Docker. You're installing like basically Docker, called Docker Toolbox. So Docker Toolbox here works for Windows 8, and it works for Windows 7 64-bit. You could try it for Windows 7 32. I don't know what will happen. But so anyways, you can click the Getting Started, and you can download this software. It should be really easy to install. And then once you install Docker onto your computer, I'm not going to do it because like I already have Docker. But once you install it, you can open up your terminal. And you can then, and so if you're doing Docker Toolbox, it's not like your terminal on Windows. I think it's like an application that like you click, and then like it basically looks like a terminal and will like work like a terminal as far as we're concerned. So then you can run commands with Docker, like, Docker PS. So what this thing does right here is it tells you what virtual machines you have running. Right now, I'm not running any virtual machines on my computer, so you see like nothing. But let's do another Docker command. Docker images. Yes, cool. So this, haven't checked how many of these I have. So this shows all the virtual machines that you have on your computer that you can run at any time. And so I have a ton of these things because I really love to use Docker. like, basically whenever I have like a different project, I actually like build like a new little mini computer that I use to run my project. And then like, if I ever want someone else to work on it, they can just download my perfectly set up computer and they don't have to like spend the hours to install everything perfectly. So it really makes, communicating, sending software to other people way easier. And you might be wondering, well, like, okay, so how do I get my software to my friends? Well, now, my friend, I will show you how to get the software I made for this course. So with that, we go to a website called Docker Hub. Let's just go to it with this. Docker Hub. And so if you've ever used GitHub, which is a site that has like files that you can download, like other people's files, this is like that, except it's called Docker Hub. It's like a little play on words. And then you can look me up. My, like, I don't know what you would call it, username or fun name is Pupster90. And I created a little Docker for this course right here. So you click that, and now you're at the page for, like, that basically explains what my virtual machine is that I created for you guys. So you can read it. It's probably informative. But right now we'll just get to the good stuff, which is how do you install the virtual machine. So if you copy this right here, docker pull, this docker pull command is basically the command that will install the virtual machine. So now that you already have Docker, you can just paste that in and run it, and that will install the virtual machine. So for me, it's saying, oh, hey, you already have this thing on your computer. You don't need to install it. For you, it will install it. And just so you know, when this thing installs, this is not like something small. You are literally installing like a little mini computer on your computer. So like, I think it'll take like 3 or 4 gigs of space. So make sure you got the space on your computer. Make sure you got a good internet connection, and your computer can handle that. So then once it installs, you can now run the virtual machine. And you might be wondering, okay, how do I do that? Well, again, we'll go back to the website. We'll pretend like we read all this stuff, and then we'll copy the command that you need to actually run the mini computer. So you put that in right here. Let's try to analyze this at least a little. What this is saying is, hey, Docker, the program that we use, try and run this virtual machine, or in Docker language, we might as well get used to it. They call it images. All these things, these different virtual machines or mini computers are really called images. So run an image, make it interactive, make it so that it sends port 888 on the virtual machine to port 888 on my computer. If you don't know what ports are, basically it's like the way that a computer communicates with another computer. So in our case, we have like our little mini computer that we set up on your computer communicating with your actual computer over port 888. And then right here we have decide a path. Basically what this does in the command is it creates a path on your computer, and this is really cool, that basically can interact with the a path on the Docker. So specifically in our case, what we'll be using that for is to make it so we can have our homework on our computer. You can just install it on your computer, and then you can work on it within the Docker. And then you say what the name of the Docker is, and then you put bin bash. And what bin bash means is, basically your bash is what your terminal is. So what you're telling it is, hey, when you run the virtual machine, the first command you're going to run is the command that opens up the terminal. So then you can start using the terminal. So there's just one thing we got to set up before we run this, which is we got to get you the homework that you'll actually be working on. So let's go to the website, edX for you guys. So this will look different depending on if you're a student who's paying money for the course, paying money, also getting some credit for the course, versus if you're just doing this for free. I'm going to do this from the perspective of the person paying the student, the student paying, just, I don't know, they're paying cash. I figure they get to see what it looks like. All right, so right here we see download assignment. So you download the assignment right here. You can see the previous one was right there from when I made this entire thing with my mic off. You can show that in your Finder. Can copy it to a folder. Oh, and it was already in the folder, but that was the one from previous. Let's just delete that. All right, so now you can put in your homework. Now this is important. When you put in your homework, you're going to want to make sure that it's the original name of the homework. In this case, HW_1. If it's has a different name, then when you send it over to get graded, it will produce an error and you're going to get 0 points for it. All right, so now we go back to where we were and we go to that place on our computer, which I just called it test it. That's where I put all my stuff. And we make a link to that. So in my case, for these paths right here, remember how I said the way that you link a folder to a folder on Docker is by changing this line? Well, this is where we put the path. And I think it should be users/mat/desktop/test-it. Let's see if that works. All right, so we just run this command. And poof, all of a sudden we see something different. Now instead of seeing this mat thing here, we see this root at. Now this is now the terminal of the virtual machine. So if we do ls now, all of a sudden we see something that's not my computer. This is Ubuntu stuff right here. So if we go into documents, as you see here, this is where I attached that directory where I had the homework to the spot on the virtual machine. If we go to there, cd documents, cd is go into folder. If you don't know Linux. If you don't know Linux, you should learn Linux. It's great. So we do ls. All of a sudden, we see the homework. So this is the homework right here that is in that test it folder on the computer. So we can now work on that homework using Jupyter. And I assume you know a thing or two about Jupyter. If not, you're going to see something really amazing and magical happen right now. You just type Jupyter Notebook. And now we see that there's something running right here. So if we open Google again, let's just do this on a new window, and we go to localhost 8888, poof, all of a sudden we have this graphical interface, and in this graphical interface we can now work on our homework. And you might be wondering, oh, what's this 888 thing here? And it's that's magic, that's super weird. Well, we go back to our terminal. Up here we see that we made it so that we linked 888 on the virtual machine to 888 on your actual computer. If these things are weird and they don't make sense, I mean, that's understandable because this is a lot of kind of really random computer stuff all at once. But just remember the lines and they will work. All right, so once you're here, you can now view your homework. You can work on your homework. You can change cells on your homework. When I'm saying changing cells, don't actually change that many cells on your homework. There's another video where I'll get into this, but really the only cell you should change, if unless you want to create errors for yourself, the only cell you should change are the cells that say modify this cell. And with the virtual machine, one nice thing is that I kind of created this tool for you where if you hit Control B, you can now move my floating head somewhere else. You can now actually have a spot where you can actually test out Python code without even editing the homework file at all. You know, like, this is awesome. And yeah, there it is. And so, you know, once you edit the actual homework, like, where's modify the cell? Yeah, so this is a spot where you're actually supposed to change stuff. You know, you can write something like, this is definitely not correct. And yeah, if you hit Control Save or, you know, File Save up here, you'll see this thing that said, oh, you saved just a few seconds ago, and now your homework is saved. And this changes the actual file, the homework_1 file, on your computer. And then from here, once you're all done, you can just upload this back up and see how you do for the homework. And yeah, so that is how you install all the software you need for this course. I hope this video was instructive, and I hope you enjoy the course. All right, later guys.